here to start talking my talk. I got a few different ideas. It's hard for me to know where to start. How many of you can relate? It's hard for me to know where to start. It's hard for me to know what to do because there's so many things I want to do. But this is my sports fitness page. This is mostly primarily for my sports and fitness. But everything is connected. So it's just going to be in my style. And I think I'll just try to decipher where to funnel what content, what topics. But what's on my mind right now has a lot to do with a lot of this, this manosphere stuff. And the funny thing about it, right? I realize in the stuff that I've been posting on my fitness has been mostly boxing content because I had some great work with a client of mine, and so as I started getting more views on some of my videos, mostly shorts, because I haven't been only doing shorts for the most part and getting some more views with that. But as I've been getting more views, I started getting some comments, started getting a few subscribers, and all that's cool. I mean, of course, I want to be able to share my stuff, but I'm not trying to be the most famous, most popular person, because that's just not me. But I do want those who are like-minded or interested in what I have to share I do want them to gravitate toward my page and my stuff. So if you do feel a connection, or you're rocking with what I'm doing, what I'm showing, and you feel you see the value, please definitely subscribe, comment, like, whatever the case may be. And if you want to see more, definitely like and you'll get more, because I'm really starting to get the ball rolling, and I see kind of what I can do on YouTube. But I say all that to say, I noticed I started attracting a certain type of comment, not overwhelmingly, because there are certainly those who are like I'll have my boxing videos, right? And then I'll get some comments, oh, good job, bro, nice, likes, plenty of likes. But then there's a few comments, and of those comments, I started noticing, there's I say it's a third, like evenly divided into thirds. You'll have your comments like, nice work, or nice this, nice that, just appreciation. I guess most people who are just seeing it are liking it or learning from it or appreciating it with a like, or just seeing it and keeping it pushing. That's cool too. But then you got these other folks who are start trying to teach me. And it's listen, I'm not opposed to being taught at all. Of course not. But it's kind of like there's a time and a place for everything. Because a lot of it will be unnecessary, right? I'm not opposed to learning or taking constructive criticism at all. Don't get me wrong, but there's a time and a place for everything. And sometimes it's just I'm seeing I guess, because I hashtag MMA, I hashtag martial arts, so I'm attracting a certain. There might be a bunch in that crowd that are I don't know, maybe machismo. There's a lot of machismo in martial arts, and I guess that's what this video will be about. I want to talk about machismo, macho, manosphere. Some maybe know it as the red pill stuff, but it's and the red pill. That's you're drawing a connection to the whole Matrix analogy, and But that's not really what it is when you start getting it. There's a difference between waking people up, enlightening people to realities, bringing them out the matrix with the red pill. And there's a whole difference between that and just spreading your like jaded opinions about your experience of being a man, or your experience dealing with women, or your experience being a tough guy, or your experience being stoic. And there's nothing wrong with stoicism, right? But here's the thing about stoicism. Stoicism is earned. You don't get to choose to be stoic. And now this is where like I start to divert from combat sports and, you know, kind of that whole hype and sort of maybe the less healthier aspects of it, you know, the business, the hype, the marketing aspects of it. Yeah, but this is where I start to kind of deviate from the typical train of thought. I won't even say manosphere or macho or red pill, because honestly it's any topic, it's any field, it's any group, any culture. When you are not sticking to the groupthink aspects and just sticking to the talking points, and you start to say, hey, well, you know, contextually, if something else is tweaked, then that's not always the case, and you're not just going along with what the group is supposed to be going on with, or you worrying about how other people are going to think or feel about what you're saying, as far as remaining accepted or by those same thinkers and same thought patterns, then you know, you might not want to say certain things. But basically, stoicism is earned. And what I mean by that is, you don't get to just choose, okay, I'm going to be stoic. And no one is stoic all the time. What is stoic? Right? What is stoicism? Not showing emotions. That's actually problematic. Suppressing your emotions is actually problematic. I would say stoicism. There's nothing wrong with stoicism. And then I even had some elders or some big bros who out here on the track, people making noise and stuff. There's a lot of nice people out here. It's nice to be out here, man. You gotta get outside, get around some active folks, even if you're just in the environment. But I had some big bros who would tell me when I'm losing my cool, yo, you gotta be stoic, you know, don't have no emotions, don't let them show your feelings. Women, don't let them see you weak, don't let them show your feelings, don't let them know your feelings. And you know what, there is a time and place for that. I understand all that, but even in that time and place, if you don't got the experience and you ain't got whipped into shape already, and you ain't had your heart broken, then you're not gonna feel what it is to feel stoic. You're not gonna basically what that is having walls up. You're not gonna have those walls up, and that's what stoicism is. Stoicism is a hardening of your outer shell. Stoicism is a poker face. Okay? But also, in my experience, I would go as far as to say stoicism, right? Maintaining your cool, keeping your calm, is durability of the inner nervous system. It's nervous system regulation. But everyone has their limits. So to say, so don't buy in, especially from our younger folks. Don't buy into it's just not healthy to buy into the idea that you must suppress your emotions and never show your emotions. All right, and there's a reason for that, because while yes, we don't want to open ourselves up to all sorts of emotional abuse, emotional manipulation, and you want to kind of, it is important in this day and age, and depending on where you're at and what country you live in and what your lifestyle is and who you're around, but more often than not, if you're on YouTube listening to me, then you might be somebody that it would pay off to have some emotional armor and not show your hand all the time, not let everybody know what you're thinking or how you're feeling, especially at work, especially around strangers or in large groups of people where there's a lot of social dynamics and social hierarchy stuff at play. But in another way, right, on the other hand, our emotions are tools for action, tools, they're fuel, right? Fuel. And you don't want to always, you want to be you want to understand your emotions. You don't want to suppress your emotions. And more importantly, you don't want to misinterpret your own feelings. All right. And so that's what can happen through suppression, through emotional suppression. When you suppress your emotions, and you can start to lose emotional intelligence, just in terms of emotional ability. You can start to lose certain feelings. Like I'll give you an example, right? Let's say if I'll just use myself for an example. I grew up in New York City, right? And I grew up in New York City in the 90s. I was coming of age in youth basketball, right? So going to all different neighborhoods. My mother lived out in Brooklyn. My father was taking me all different neighborhoods. I'm playing basketball against guys from all different parts of the city, rough neighborhoods. 90s New York City basketball was rough. New York City basketball in general is rough. Everybody knows that. So, I came up in Brooklyn. My mother lived in Brooklyn. I came up and encountered rough people, aggressive people, especially on the basketball court. Guys will talk ish to you, try to intimidate you, right? And this is just New York culture. New York, it just seems, is a very intense, aggressive nature, society and culture. Everyone's in the hustling, everyone's rushing, and the rat race is super fast paced, blowing their horns, honking at you as soon as the light turned green, all that stuff. And I watched myself. I remember, I can look back and see how I developed sort of my tough side, right? My tough guy, right? I don't, for lack of a better term, right? My aggression really is what it is. But even that, right? So like, that's another example. You have to develop aggression the same way that you have to develop stoicism and poise and calm. You have to develop all of these things. So if you overdevelop one and you suppress the other, then you're going to be unable to function in another situation. So that's what I mean in terms of, it's important to just understand yourself and be aware of your emotions, feel your emotions. Don't try to numb yourself out with the drugs and the alcohol, because you're really just damaging your body. You're damaging your nervous system. Too much of anything is not good. I'm not going to go in too much because I don't want I really don't. When it comes to substances, I think on a good thing, on the bright side, is that the society is becoming more open to not labeling addiction as labeling people who use substances or smoke weed, for example, as addicts, but more so treating it with more compassion, looking at it like, and also looking at other substances, being open-minded to psychedelics and the potential benefits of psychedelics, the potential benefits to cannabis. So I'm not going to sit here and just condemn everything. But at the same time, too much of anything is not good because it becomes a crutch. And it can also become unhealthy physically, physiologically. You may be doing something to your synapses, you're doing something to your nervous system, or any other part of your body or organs, so you never know. So just be aware. most of what I talk about is going to end up coming back to awareness, because that's really what gets the work, where the work starts. The work starts with our own awareness. You can never, only your own conscious observer can communicate directly with yourself, with your own intelligence. Somebody else, yeah, you can trust them, but you don't know what interference or noise may have gotten in the way of the message. But when you have your own awareness and your own feelings, and you can trust your own feelings, and you can use that as a guide. So when you have that guide of your emotions, of your feelings, then you can start to understand them. You have that awareness, you start to understand them, and then you start to understand, okay, when I'm feeling angry, there's what else is behind that anger? Because if you have to develop aggression and you have to develop a toughness, then you know that's a situation in a context, right? Being a young guy in New York City, I had to develop a toughness, a thick skin, an aggression, a self-defense mechanism of aggression, of striking back, of defending myself, telling not being broken down, not being beaten down emotionally by other people's words, right? Sticks and stones, that whole kind of thing. But you don't just choose this stuff. It has to be built. And how do you build it? Through practice. And how do you practice? Then you're gonna have to start from square one. Usually we're younger, or we enter into new experiences, we're at square one. We've never been faced with this type of adversity before. Verbal abuse or physical abuse, right? But if you want to build it up, then the best way to build it up is through practice. Okay? That's it. You can practice your aggression. You can practice your anger. But if we suppress everything else because we're in a tough environment and we're only able or allowed or feel safe expressing aggression or anger, then what can that do? That can make us kind of lose sight or be unaware of other things that's behind it, or maybe we're even turning off those neural pathways, those parts of our brain and our body, because it's all connected, that are connected to sadness, fear, right? And let me tell you, fear is behind a lot of things. Fear is behind a lot of things. There's so much to talk about here, so I'm just gonna I think I found my little niche right now. I'm gonna be talking about these feelings, these emotions, how they connect to substance abuse, I should say, how we suppress our fear, how we suppress our sadness and mask it so that we can get back to a place of joy, but that's false joy. That's unhealthy joy. That's digging yourself deeper into a deeper hole. So just be aware of yourself, right? Young people, anybody, but young folks in particular. You are now being equipped with the tools. You now, at a young age, have the chance to equip yourself, do the research, do the homework. Never before in a time in history did we have so much information on the tip of our fingers. And most people have a phone. If you're watching me right now, you listen to me, you at least have a computer, you probably have a phone. The power is in your hands to do the research, do your homework, learn and understand, so that you can be aware, so that you understand, okay, maybe I shouldn't drink this alcohol. Maybe I shouldn't abuse this alcohol. Maybe I shouldn't even drink any of this alcohol. I'm not going to condemn nobody. Like I said, we're all on our own path, our own journey. Okay, so I'm not going to sit here and brag, oh, I don't never drink at all, or I don't drink, or you shouldn't telling people what to do. But is it unhealthy? Yes. Is it extremely unhealthy to the point where any type of frequency or outside of once in a blue moon, once every couple of years, once a year. Is even that, every time you do it, is a little, causing yourself a little bit of poison, a little bit of damage neurologically. Yes, it is that unhealthy. I'm just here to speak the truth. But the point is not to condemn or make anybody feel bad. The point is, be aware. Know what you're doing to yourself. Know when it's because you are trying to avoid some sadness. Know when it's because you're trying to avoid and suppress that fear. Because maybe you're dealing with a situation where it's just so much fear, you can't stand it, you can't bear it, but it's in the environment and you don't know how to escape it. But this is something to be aware of, something to think about. Because maybe if you really wanted to, you could. I don't know, I can't speak for everybody, but just be aware. Maybe this sadness, what is this sadness there for? Really think, why am I feeling this way? Is it because of what I'm trying to do? Is it because of a character or a lifestyle I'm trying to perform, or something I'm trying to be that my body, my heart is really not in it, but I'm still trying to do it for whatever reason? Because maybe for some friends, or maybe I'm a little lonely, or maybe I'm just afraid to stand out, to not be accepted. Something to think about. All right, I'm going to talk more about this stuff. Okay, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I think I found my niche, man. That's pretty much all I got right now. But yeah, our emotions are a guide. Our emotions are tools. You want to have different emotions for different situations. Sometimes we need to be able to communicate with each other. Sometimes you need to be able to trust somebody. Maybe if it's just one person. Maybe if it's just your mom. Maybe if it's just your dad. Maybe if it's just your girl. Maybe if it's just your boyfriend, right? Or your partner, your husband, your wife. Sometimes you gotta trust somebody. I mean, I'm out here and I'm seeing these guys talking about so much stoicism. They so stoic, they don't even trust their wife. You can't trust your wife. Don't tell your wife nothing. Yo, you guys are going too far. I think you're going too far. Listen, I always read that shit and it starts to get to me a little bit. I'm like, man, try not to curse. I'm like, man, you can't trust my wife? I wouldn't get married if you can't trust your wife. I wouldn't even be having a conversation about how to deal with your wife. You can't tell her. I understand. I get it. You don't want to show her. You want your wife to think you weak. You don't want your wife to think you soft. You don't want your wife to just be able to bully you around. Next thing you know, she ain't even attracted to you because you soft. But that's very contextual. Just because you feel some sadness, you should be able to tell your wife the truth about if something comes up and you're just like, hey, what if you got kids and you worried about something, you have fear that something might happen, or she's doing something and it's nothing crazy, but it's just like, hey, I'm just worried that this might happen to you, or I'm just a little bit sad that whatever, I think maybe our son might be going down to hanging out with, I don't like this friend, or I don't like that he did that. It makes me worried. These are conversations we need to be able to have. You can't just be all emotionless, man. That's called being broken. All right, we talk more later, man. Let me know if you vibing with it. Holla at me in the comments. Let me know how you feel, what you think. I'm a holler back. I'm not famous yet, so I'm a talk back. What's up?